So the story that I am about to tell is a summary to Rosie Park, which I know everybody know about Rosie Park, but this happened to me way before. It happened to Rosie Park in the 60s. This happened to me in the early 40s. I grew up in a big family. There was 9 children of us, and we grew up on a farm. We had very little money, but we had love in our home. And my father and mother, they believed in educating their children and believed in sending them to church. So after working very hard, we made very little money. And so when my sister and I finished high school, we was in the same class, and my father and mother decided to let me and my sister go to New York for the summer to work to help earn some money. So they called my aunt, my mother's sister, and she said we could come and she would get us a job. So we went to New York for that summer, and she got both of us a job in the laundry. And we had to ride on a bus every day. We wasn't used to riding a bus that much because in the southern states you rode just once in a while. So we rode to work every day on the bus, and we just got used to riding on the bus and getting on the bus and anywhere you wanted to sit. So that went on. And after the summer, we went back. We had saved up all our money, went back, and we gave it to our mother and father. So that year was my first year to go away for school. So then my sister begged my mother and father to let her go back to New York because she didn't want to go to college. So they did. And one day I wanted to go and visit my relatives, and I had to go by bus. So my father took me to the bus station, and my little niece went with me. She was 5 years old, and this was her first bus ride. So when we got to the station, my father, after we got on the bus, then he left. And we walked up in the bus. I sat down about 3 seats behind the bus driver, not realizing I was back in South Carolina and had to go to the back of the bus. So I just sit there. And so when everybody was on the bus driver closed the door. But he was still standing. And I was wondering what was happening. And everything was so quiet, you couldn't hear nothing in the bus. Everybody's crying. Then I looked around and looked kind of like their eyes was on me. And I said, what did I do? And so then I happened to look up and looked like the bus driver's eyes on me. And all of a sudden he said, "Get up, miss, and go to the back of the bus." And believe it or not, it still didn't dawn on me that he was talking to me. So then he made a great yell, "Miss," with the little girl, "Get up and go to the back of the bus." Then when I realized what I had done, I was frightened. I was shaking like a leaf on the water. I was afraid because I know what would have happened to me if I hadn't got up and went to the back of the bus. They didn't mind lynching you in South Carolina. They didn't mind hanging you and killing you in South Carolina. Nobody would never know who did it. And all that was going through my head, what would have happened to me if I hadn't got up and went to the back of the bus. And my little niece looked up at me with her big eyes. She said, "What's going on?" And all I said, "Be quiet, be quiet." So when we got to the stop where I was getting off at, when I got off, the people met me, and I just got off and fell in their arms and crying. They said, "What happened? What happened?" And I told them what happened. So then they sympathized with me, and they said, "Well, you won't have to go back on the bus. We will take you back home." I said, "Thank you very much." And when I got off that bus, the bus driver said, "Miss, don't you try that again." I said, "No, sir." But I was really nervous. So at that time, now I tells my children about the experience that I had and what happened to me. Well, both of my children was born in New York, and they said, "Well, Ma, if it had been me, I would not have moved. I would not have moved." I said, "Well, let me tell you all one thing. If I had not moved, you all would not have been here today."